Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to read you the story of Emily, which is titled like this. My parents sent a group text 3 days before Christmas. We think it's best for Emily not to show up at our party. My sister, brothers, and even my aunt reacted with a thumbs up. So I typed good, but you won't see me either. Well, let's go. I'm Emily, 34 years old, single. I was sprawled on my couch watching some random TV show when my phone buzzed. The notification showed a message in our family group chat, the one with Mom, Dad, my 2 younger brothers, Jake and Matt, my sister Emma, plus Aunt Linda and Uncle Steve. We used it for sharing news, planning get-togethers, and swapping recipes mostly. The message was from Mom. Hi, everyone. Just confirming our Christmas party will be at our house like we discussed. Can't wait to see you all. Except we think it's best for Emily not to show up at our Christmas party. I stared at my phone screen. What the hell? I read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't seeing things. Nope. Mom had literally just uninvited me from Christmas in the family group chat for everyone to see. The worst part? Jake, Matt, and Emma all gave it thumbs-up reactions. Even Aunt Linda liked the message. Nobody asked why. Nobody said, "Wait, what's going on?" Nothing. My hands were shaking as I typed and deleted about 5 different responses. First, I wanted to write, "You're all ungrateful bastards," but I stopped myself. Then I thought about telling them exactly what I thought of their little exclusion party. But in the end, I just wrote, "Okay, I respect your decision, and I won't come to your party, but you won't see me either. Respect my decision." Within seconds, all of them, every single family member in that chat, responded with clown face emojis to my message. Clown faces. Like I was some kind of joke. I left the group chat immediately and threw my phone across the couch. Sitting there in my living room, I tried to figure out how we'd gotten to this point. It all started a month ago at what I thought was just a regular family dinner. Mom had invited everyone over. Me, Jake, Matt, Emma, plus Aunt Linda and Uncle Steve. We don't all live together anymore, but we tried to get together once a month. I remember walking into Mom's dining room that night feeling good. I'd had a great week at work, I was wearing a new dress I liked, and I was looking forward to catching up with everyone. That feeling lasted about 10 minutes. We had just sat down when Mom got this weird smile on her face and said, "So, we've been talking before Emily got here, and we've made an exciting decision." Emma jumped in immediately. "I've been researching hotels all week. Everything's basically booked already, but there are still some really nice suites available. They're pricey, but it'll be so worth it." I was confused, but tried to go with it. "Oh, that sounds fun. How much do I need to chip in?" Everyone at the table started laughing. Not like, "Oh, that's funny," laughing. More like they all knew something I didn't. I looked around at their faces and said, "What's so funny?" Aunt Linda was the one who dropped the bomb. "Oh, honey, you're not chipping in. We decided you're paying for all of us." Mom nodded like this was totally normal. "We calculated everything. For your dad and me, Jake, Matt, Emma, Linda, and Steve. It'll be about $18,000 for 2 weeks, but we'll be staying at the most luxurious resort with all the excursions and spa treatments and everything." I literally thought they were joking. "Wait, what? You want me to pay $18,000 for everyone's vacation?" "Well, you have the savings," Mom said, like it was obvious. "You make good money, and you're always putting money away. It's not like you spend it on anything." Emma chimed in with this smug look. "I saw your bank statement once when you left it on the counter. You've got over $100,000 saved up. This would barely make a dent." That's when everyone got excited. Uncle Steve started talking about chartering a yacht. Aunt Linda wanted to book the presidential suite. They were all talking over each other, making plans, with my money, like I wasn't even there. I'd heard enough. I slammed my hand down on the table hard enough to make the water glasses jump. "I'm not paying for your Hawaiian vacation," I said. "I'm not spending my money on your expensive fantasies." The temperature in that room dropped about 20 degrees. Mom's face went cold and she said, "Emily, you're really distancing yourself from this family by refusing to help us." "Help you?" I shot back. "A family doesn't just decide how someone else should spend their money without even asking first." After that, nobody talked to me for the rest of dinner. They all ate in complete silence while I sat there feeling like I'd just kicked a puppy. I left as soon as I could, and nobody said goodbye. That was a month ago. Since then, nothing. No calls, no texts, no, "Hey, how are you doing?" Which was weird, because usually they were constantly hitting me up for money. Jake needed help with rent. Emma wanted money for car repairs. Mom and Dad always had some expense they needed help with. I kept thinking about calling Mom to smooth things over. I picked up my phone so many times, but then I'd talk myself out of it. I figured they needed time to cool down and realize how crazy their Hawaii demand was. But sitting here looking at that Christmas message, I finally understood. This wasn't about cooling down. This was punishment. This was their way of getting revenge on me for not being their personal ATM. And the worst part? I'd been trying to buy their love for years without even realizing it. Right after college, I landed a great job at a marketing firm. I was making more money than anyone in my family ever had. So, when Mom mentioned they were struggling with the mortgage, I started helping. When Jake couldn't afford tuition, I paid for his classes. When Emma's car broke down, I bought her a new one. When Aunt Linda got sick and couldn't afford her medical bills, I covered those too. Sitting there on my couch, staring at my phone after leaving that group chat, something clicked in my brain. It wasn't just anger anymore, it was clarity. For the first time in years, I could see exactly what my relationship with my family really was. I wasn't their daughter or sister. I was their ATM with legs. 2 months ago, my boss, Richard, had called me into his office with what he called an opportunity of a lifetime. He wanted me to relocate to Denver and run our new branch office there. It was a huge promotion, regional manager, with a salary bump that would have made my current good pay look like pocket change. Think about it, Emily, he'd said, leaning back in his chair. You'd be building something from the ground up. Complete creative control, bigger budget, your own team. Plus, Denver's a great city. Mountains, skiing, hiking, if you're into that. I turned him down without even thinking about it. I appreciate the offer, Richard, but I can't leave my family. They need me here. He looked disappointed, but said he understood. Family's important, but if you change your mind, let me know soon. I can't hold the position forever. Now, sitting in my living room with clown emojis burned into my retinas, I realized what an idiot I'd been. They needed me here, all right. They needed my bank account here. I grabbed my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found Richard's number. It was almost 9:00 p.m., but he'd given me his personal cell for emergencies. This felt like an emergency. Emily, everything okay? He answered on the second ring. Hey, Richard, sorry to call so late. That Denver position, is it still available? There was a pause. Well, we haven't filled it yet, but we're getting close to making a decision. Why? Did something change? Everything changed. I want the job. When would I need to start? I could hear him smiling through the phone. That's fantastic news. We could have you out there in about 2 months. There's paperwork to handle, relocation, logistics, that sort of thing. Send me whatever I need to sign. After I hung up, I felt this weird lightness in my chest, like I'd been holding my breath for months and could finally exhale. For the first time since that disaster dinner, I felt like I was doing something right. Christmas came and went. I spent it alone in my house, ordering Chinese takeout and watching Netflix. It should have been depressing, but honestly, it was peaceful. No drama, no demands, no awkward conversations about money. Around dinner time, I made the mistake of checking social media. Mom had posted a bunch of photos from their Christmas party. The whole family gathered around the tree. Big smiles, fancy dinner spread on the table. The caption read, "Perfect Christmas celebration with all the people who matter. So grateful for a holiday without unnecessary drama and negativity." Unnecessary drama and negativity. That's what I was to them. But instead of crying or getting angry, I just laughed. They had no idea what was coming. The day after Christmas, I called my friend Marcus, who'd helped me buy my current house 3 years ago. He's a realtor, and a good one. Listen, I need a favor. I want to sell my house fast. Sell? But you love that place. You spent months picking out paint colors. Plans change. How quick can we move on this? Marcus knows me well enough not to ask too many questions when I get that tone. Market's pretty hot right now. Nice houses in your neighborhood are going fast. I could probably have it sold within a month, maybe 6 weeks if we price it right. Do it. I'll clean it up this weekend and you can start showing it next week. My phone had been quiet since Christmas. Not a single call or text from any of them. Radio silence, which was fine by me. It gave me time to pack and plan without having to deal with their drama. I spent January getting everything ready for the move. The automatic transfers to my family were still running. Mortgage help for Mom and Dad, Jake's rent money, Matt's car payment, Emma's credit card payments. I left them alone for now. Let them think everything was normal while I planned my escape. By the 3rd week of February, Marcus had found a buyer for my house. A young couple with a baby who fell in love with the nursery I'd set up as a home office. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd been saving up to maybe start a family someday, but my actual family had driven me away from that dream. I sold most of my furniture to a consignment shop and packed the rest of my belongings into a moving truck. The company had arranged a temporary apartment for me in Denver while I got settled, which was perfect since I didn't want to rush into buying anything. The move went smoothly, and within a week I was in Colorado, breathing mountain air and feeling like a completely different person. The corporate apartment was nice enough, modern, clean, and most importantly, far away from my family's drama. I spent the next several weeks working with Richard to set up the new branch office. We hired staff, designed the workspace, and worked out all the logistics for our client accounts. During my downtime, I worked with a local realtor to find my own place. After looking at dozens of properties, I found the perfect house. It was slightly smaller than my old place, but it had this amazing garden in the back, way bigger than anything I'd had before. I could already picture myself out there with coffee in the mornings, maybe even learning to grow vegetables. I moved into my new house on a Friday and opened the branch office the following Monday. It was surreal. My own team, my own office, my own decisions to make. I felt more in control of my life than I had in years. That first day at work, sitting in my new office overlooking downtown Denver, I decided to do something I'd been looking forward to for weeks. I logged into my online banking and canceled every single automatic transfer I had set up for my family. The mortgage help for mom and dad, gone. Jake's monthly rent assistance, canceled. Matt's car payment, done. Emma's credit card payments, not anymore. As I clicked through each cancellation, I couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, every dollar I earned was going to be mine to keep. The relief was incredible. 2 weeks later, my phone started going crazy. First, it was Mom calling. I watched her name flash on the screen and hit decline. Then Dad tried. Same treatment. Then Jake. By the end of the day, I had 12 missed calls and about 20 text messages. I finally listened to one of Mom's voicemails, just to see what kind of panic I'd caused. "Emily, honey, the mortgage payment didn't go through. The bank called and said there wasn't enough money in the account. We're counting on that transfer from you. Please call me back as soon as you get this." Her voice sounded stressed, but not worried yet. She probably figured it was just some banking error that would get sorted out quickly. The next few voicemails got progressively more frantic. Dad left one that was basically him demanding I call them immediately. Jake's message was just him whining about his rent being due and needing his usual help. I deleted every single message without responding. A week later, the calls started coming from Matt and Emma too. Matt left this pathetic voicemail. "Emily, I don't know what's going on, but my car payment got declined and they're threatening to repo it. I need that money you always send. Where are you?" Emma's message was more direct. "What the hell, Emily? My credit card company called saying my payment bounced. You've been covering that for 2 years. I have bills due." Still didn't answer. It was actually kind of satisfying watching them all scramble without their personal bank account. 3 days later, I got a text from Mom that made me laugh out loud. "Emily, we went to your house and there are strangers living there. Where are you? We need to talk." I could picture it perfectly. Mom and Dad showing up at my old address, probably planning to guilt me face to face into turning the money back on, only to find some confused new homeowners who had no idea who they were looking for. That evening, I went through my contacts and blocked every number I had from my family. Mom, Dad, Jake, Matt, Emma, Aunt Linda, Uncle Steve, all of them. I was done listening to their complaints about money. A month passed in blissful silence. I was settling into my new life in Denver, making friends at work, exploring the city. For the first time in years, I wasn't stressed about money because I wasn't giving it all away to ungrateful relatives. Then my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Emily, thank God it's Sarah. Everyone's been looking for you. Your parents are freaking out. What happened?" Sarah was my cousin on Dad's side. She was about my age, and we'd always gotten along well. Even though we didn't talk much anymore, she'd never asked me for money, never treated me like an ATM. I moved to Denver for work. I didn't tell anyone because honestly, Sarah, I'm done with all of them. Done? What do you mean done? So I told her everything. The Hawaii vacation demand, the Christmas exclusion, the clown emojis, all of it. Sarah listened without interrupting. "Jesus, Emily, I had no idea they were treating you like that." "Yeah, well, now you know why I left, and why I'm not sending them money anymore." "Is that why your dad called my mom crying about losing the house? And why Jake's been posting on Facebook about needing roommates?" That made me smile. Probably. They'll figure it out. They managed before I had money. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Emily, I get why you're angry. What they did was horrible, but your mom's been calling me every day asking if I've heard from you. She seems genuinely worried. She's worried about her mortgage payment, not about me. Maybe. But what if she's not? What if they actually realize they screwed up? I laughed, but there wasn't much humor in it. Then they can apologize. But I warned them they wouldn't see me again, and they responded with clown faces. So as far as I'm concerned, they made their choice. After I hung up with Sarah, I sat in my living room looking out at my garden. The previous owners had planted roses that were just starting to bloom. It was peaceful here, quiet, no one demanding money or taking me for granted. A few months later, I changed my phone number entirely. I gave the new number to Sarah and a few close friends from my old job, but that was it. I wanted a completely fresh start. My new life in Denver was everything I'd hoped for. The branch office was doing great. We'd landed 3 major clients in our first quarter, and Richard was talking about expanding even more. I'd made friends with my neighbors, joined a hiking group, even started dating a guy named Tom who worked at the outdoor gear store downtown. Tom was the complete opposite of my family. He paid for his own meals when we went out, never asked to borrow money, and actually seemed interested in me as a person, rather than what I could do for him. One evening in late summer, I was checking my email when I saw a message from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line made my stomach drop. And from Emma. I stared at it for a full minute before opening it. Emily, I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us, but I had to try. We've all been talking, and we realized we messed up. We were wrong to ask you to pay for Hawaii, and we were wrong to exclude you from Christmas. We don't need your money anymore. We just want our sister back. I found your email through some mutual friends. Please, can we talk? We miss you. I read it 3 times. Part of me wanted to believe they'd actually learned something, but the bigger part of me remembered those clown face emojis and the years of being treated like nothing more than a source of cash. I closed the email without responding. If they really wanted to make things right, they'd have to do a lot more than send one email. They'd shown me who they really were, and I wasn't ready to forget that. Life in Denver had become exactly what I needed. The mountains were incredible. I'd never lived anywhere with views like this. Tom and I had started hiking together every weekend, and I was getting into the best shape of my life. Work was going amazing, too. Our branch had exceeded every target Richard had set, and he was already talking about opening another location with me, overseeing both. I'd made real friends here. My neighbor Jessica and I had coffee every Tuesday morning before work. There was a book club I joined where we actually talked about books, instead of who needed money for what. I'd even started taking a pottery class on Thursday nights, something I'd always wanted to try, but never had time for when I was busy being everyone's personal bank. It was weird how much lighter I felt without my family's constant financial demands hanging over me. I'd calculated it once. Over the past 5 years, I'd given them almost $60,000. $60,000. That was a decent car, or a down payment on a really nice house, or a year of traveling the world. Instead, it had gone to people who saw me as nothing more than a source of easy money. About 6 months after Emma's email, my phone rang while I was making dinner. It was Sarah again. Hey, how's Denver treating you? Really good, actually. How are things with you? I'm fine. But Emily, I need to tell you something. Your parents lost the house. Foreclosure. Apparently they couldn't make the payments without your help, and they couldn't qualify for a modification because your dad's credit is shot from some old business debts. They had to move in with your Aunt Linda. I felt a weird mix of emotions. Part of me felt bad. That house had been my childhood home. But mostly, I just felt nothing. They'd made their choice when they decided I was disposable. How are Jake and Matt doing? Jake had to get 3 roommates, and he's working 2 jobs now. Matt's car got repossessed, so he's taking the bus everywhere. Emma had to move back in with your parents at Linda's place because she couldn't afford her apartment. And they're still not working? Sarah laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Oh, they're working now. Emma got a job at Target. Jake's doing food delivery and working at a warehouse. Matt finally got hired at some call center. Funny how quickly they found jobs when the free money stopped coming. After we hung up, I sat on my couch thinking about what Sarah had told me. 5 years ago, hearing that my family was struggling would have sent me running back with my checkbook open. Now I felt sorry for them, but not sorry enough to fix their problems. They'd had years to figure out how to support themselves. Instead, they'd gotten comfortable living off my generosity and planning expensive vacations with my money. Maybe having to actually work for a living would teach them something about the value of money. Tom came over that night and found me quiet. "Everything okay? You seem distracted." I told him about Sarah's call. Tom had heard bits and pieces about my family situation, but I'd never gone into the full details. "That's rough," he said when I finished. "Do you feel bad about it?" "I thought I would, but I really don't. Is that terrible?" Tom shook his head. "Emily, you supported them for years, and they repaid you by excluding you from Christmas and treating you like garbage. You don't owe them anything." That's what I loved about Tom. He was straightforward and honest, but not in a mean way. He just saw things clearly, without all the emotional baggage I carried around. A year passed. Denver went from feeling like a temporary escape to feeling like home. I bought a better car, took a vacation to Europe with Jessica, and even started looking at houses with bigger gardens. The pottery class had led to me setting up a little studio in my basement where I could work on projects in the evenings. Then, on a random Tuesday morning, another email appeared from Emma. This one was longer. "Emily, I know you didn't respond to my last email, and I understand why. We all know we treated you horribly. Losing the house was a wake-up call for all of us. We've been working and supporting ourselves for over a year now, and we realize how much we took advantage of you. We don't want your money. We just want our sister back. Mom cries about you all the time. She keeps saying she never should have sent that message about Christmas. Jake and Matt feel terrible about the clown emojis. We all do. I know we don't deserve forgiveness, but we love you and we miss you. If there's any chance you'd be willing to talk to us, we'll do whatever it takes to make this right." I read it twice, then closed my laptop and went to make coffee. The thing was, I believed Emma was sincere. I believed they probably did feel bad about how things went down. But feeling bad after the consequences hit wasn't the same as actually understanding what they'd done wrong. They'd shown me their true colors when they thought I'd always be there to bail them out. The Hawaii vacation demand, the Christmas exclusion, the clown faces. That was who they really were when they thought I had no choice but to take it. Now that they'd lost their free money and had to face real consequences, suddenly they wanted their sister back. But where was their love and respect when I was paying their bills? Where was their appreciation when I was sacrificing my own financial security for theirs? I thought about Tom, who'd never asked me for a dime. About Jessica, who insisted on splitting every coffee bill. About my coworkers, who valued my ideas and treated me as an equal. About my hiking group, where people liked me for who I was, not what I could give them. I had a real family now, one I'd chosen, one that chose me back for the right reasons. I deleted Emma's email without responding. Maybe someday I'd be ready to let them back into my life. Maybe they'd prove they'd really changed and learned to see me as more than a bank account. But that day wasn't today, and I was okay with that. I had a good life here, a life where I mattered for who I was, not what I could provide. And that was worth more than any family reunion could ever be.